How's it going, guys? My name is Jimmy Champane, and today we have a huge update on 3 from Hell. So not only do we know kind of when the movie is coming out, but we also have an idea of when we'll see the trailer, and on top of that, we finally have the official rating for the movie. So there's a lot to talk about, but before we get into it, I wanted to say thanks so much for clicking on my video. So Rob Zombie's been taking a pretty laid-back approach to letting us know things we've been waiting to hear about this movie, and he kept the trend going when he sat down for an interview on a Sirius XM radio show, and he said, "I had to finish the movie. I just literally finished that 2 days ago. That's done. That was taking my life for the last couple years. I don't know for sure when it'll be released, in the early fall, September vicinity." So if you've been waiting to find out when you're going to be able to watch 3 from Hell, it turns out you're not going to have to wait that long at all, because the end of August, early September range is only a few months away. And honestly, I think that's a pretty great time to release this movie. That's really because the movies in the Devil's Rejects timeline all take place in the southern United States, where it's extremely hot and dry, so it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to release this movie deep into the fall, especially considering it's going up against huge blockbusters at that point. It's crazy. I feel like Rob Zombie just started filming this movie and he was taking a huge break for his tour, but now it's coming out in like 6 months. It's just kind of crazy. So this one definitely won't be a surprise to any Rob Zombie fans, but the MPAA just put the rating on the movie and they gave it a PG-13. No, I'm just kidding. They gave it a hard R rating. So when you head out to see 3 from Hell this September, you're gonna get some sadistic violence, some strong language throughout, some graphic nudity, some sexual content, maybe even some drug use. So to me, that just sounds like a Rob Zombie movie, and I am completely on board for it. I'm gonna go all in and hazard a guess that Sherry Moon Zombie is gonna be the one providing that graphic nudity, but it's nice to hear that in the year 2019, we're gonna get a gory movie for once. It's been a long time since we've gotten one of these that actually ended up in theaters. It feels good. It's hitting that nostalgia for me. I remember when I was a kid and Rob Zombie's Halloween was coming out, and I was so excited to see it, and I'm just getting those feelings again for this movie. So as for how the Fireflies are gonna survive that shooting at the end of the Devil's Rejects, I'm starting to think, after digging around online a little bit, that he's gonna skip the supernatural stuff and just make it so they survive at the end of that. They go to the hospital and the movie is gonna focus on their trial after they recover. There's a few reasons I'm thinking that way, but the big one is that this movie only had one key shooting location. It's an abandoned women's prison, and on top of that, it had an extremely small budget. So I'm starting to think that the trial of the Fireflies is gonna be a big chunk of this movie, and it's all gonna lead up to a big escape scene at the very end that could potentially lead into yet another movie featuring these characters, where if it makes a lot of money, he'll get a bigger budget. And if you've been following this movie at all, you've no doubt noticed how many cameos there are in it. And what's the perfect place to have a cameo if not a prison? You can have people play guards, and you can also have them play inmates. And speaking of this movie being set in a prison, I think it's gonna be awesome to see the Fireflies kind of on even footing with all the people around them. You know, they're not gonna go to some normal prison, they're gonna go to a high security place full of other murderers. So it's gonna be cool to see which ones, like maybe Dee Wallace, wanna hurt them or help them. That's a really cool dynamic that I don't think we've ever seen in a Rob Zombie movie before. As for when we'll see the trailer, it's looking like we won't have to wait too long for that either, because Rob Zombie posted on his Facebook the other day and said, "As you now may have heard, we finally received our R rating. This was a very long process and threw us a couple months behind schedule. It's a drag for sure, but that's the way it goes." Anyway, that's the reason you haven't seen the trailer yet. We are currently working on a trailer and hope to get it out in the world ASAP. I know it seems like you've been waiting forever. Well, I've been working on this film every day for the last 2 years, so trust me, I know how you feel. Actually, my first conversations with Lionsgate about doing this movie began over 3 years ago. Now, you can say whatever you want about Rob Zombie and his movies, because he has had some misses over the years, but the one thing you can't say is that he doesn't genuinely care about everything he puts out into the world. From everything we've seen and heard about 3 from Hell so far, it seems like it's shaping up to be a pretty good movie, and I'm really happy to see that Rob Zombie and all the actors involved are excited as well. And finally, I got a really strong response on my last video on this movie, so it seems like the fan base is ready to welcome these characters back with open arms. It's kind of like the perfect storm. My big hope for 3 from Hell is obviously that it's good, but also that it makes a ton of money so Rob Zombie gets a big budget to do a movie again. I think that dude's still got a lot of creative juice left in him, and I want to see what he can put on the big screen. And that being said, I think it's a really smart move for him to use the limited budget he has to bring back his most well-known characters. I don't really think he had many other options at this point. So basically now all we're waiting on is a trailer, and you know, as soon as that drops, I will do a reaction and breakdown for you guys, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that like button because it helps my video reach a new audience, which means you get more videos from me. Anyway guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.